While on board cruise ships, it is not so hard to find those cruisers that we would label as complainers. But we may have just found the cheesiest complainer. Hey everyone, what's up? My name is Jordan.
And I'm Jared.
And this is
JJ Cruise.
If you are just stumbling upon the channel for the first time, this is a YouTube channel all about cruise travel. We travel all around the world. We're actually currently on a cruise around New Zealand. So if you are a cruise lover and obsessed like we are, we invite you to join us for our adventures.
Yes, please subscribe to the channel. We are so close to 30,000 subscribers and it's completely free for you to do so. And while you're at it, hit the thumbs up. Now, today's story is one that is quite ridiculous, to be honest with you, but one that we think is important. So definitely stay tuned to the end because we want your complete feedback here in the comments. If you're not familiar with our channel, we do have a lot of stories from the sea. And these stories from the sea are almost like a what would you do scenario. And we would love to hear what you would do in this scenario.
When we get on board cruise ships, we often like to try all the different types of food. Jared and I are both foodies, and we love to eat different types of food, different types of cuisine. And so when the opportunity presents itself to go to a specialty dining experience or specialty restaurant, we, 10 out of 10, will always take that opportunity. We actually recently released a video about the top 5 restaurants that we've eaten at sea, so you can check that in the link above. But today is actually about a restaurant that we ate at recently. And this was one of our favorites.
Now, this restaurant is French cuisine, which is something that we don't get all the time. It's not on board every cruise ship, but on top of it, it's not available at all times in our hometown. So we absolutely love having the French cuisine when we're at sea on board any cruise ship, especially this one.
To set the scene, this is a little more of a high-end restaurant. It's fine dining, it's a little bit more expensive, and this is a restaurant that you would go to maybe for date night, celebrating an anniversary, or if you just want to be romantic with your partner, it's a great night out on the ship. Being the lovebirds that Jared and I are, we took the opportunity to go to this restaurant on a recent ship that we were on, and let's just say the scene at the restaurant was quite funny.
And when we say funny, we have not come across this type of complaints ever before in our lives. Of course, we hear about complaints all the time on board a cruise ship, and there's a lot of people complaining 24/7 at guest relations, but we try to stay away from guest relations for that very, very reason. While we're at dinner, we overhear on the table next to us some initial mumblings. We're kind of like, what is happening here? But it's kind of like the whole behind the menu type of chatter. They're really soft, but you could hear that there was something going on there. Now, being who we are, we of course always assume that something is happening that they just really don't want anyone to know about. Maybe it's something personal, or maybe it's someone in the restaurant that's not really jiving with what they want, but they don't want other people to know because they don't want to be seen as, I guess, those people. Well, they were those people in this scenario because eventually those menus came down and they started talking pretty openly about their problem.
We were looking at the menu, getting ready to order, and all of a sudden we start to hear the word cheese be mentioned a lot between the couple. They're having this really intense conversation about the different types of cheeses that are available in the restaurant and the types of cheeses that they were looking forward to eating. Now, I love cheese, as I'm sure do many of you at home. However, I would not consider myself a cheese connoisseur, I guess, or I wouldn't necessarily walk into a restaurant expecting 5 different types of cheeses, and if they didn't have them, being flabbergasted.
Of course, before any of this chatter happened, we did catch an interaction with the waitstaff. Now, she had asked the waitstaff here what kind of cheese they had on their cheese plate, but on top of it, a few more things. One, has it been out of the fridge for a while to where it's now room temperature? A common thing that we have heard out there, as well as where did this cheeses come from? Now, the waiter did not know. The waiter said, I'm not sure, I will have to go back He described the cheeses, but he didn't know where they came from. So he had to go back to the chef to see where were these cheeses coming from. Was it one location? Was it all over the world? Where was it?
This being a French restaurant, the expectation that most of the cheese would be coming from France. Much to her dismay, she unfortunately found out that all of the cheese at the French restaurant on the ship was coming from the United States.
The United States is the largest producer of cheese in the world. Something I actually found out about at a bathroom stall just a little bit ago. But in all honesty, not something that I would ever think about asking my waitstaff. She was not happy with that response.
She was expecting French cheese at the French restaurant. So this particular person carried on and on and on about the cheese. Now, yes, this is an expensive restaurant. You do pay a pretty penny to eat there. So, of course, everyone's feelings are valid. And I want to validate the fact that you can be disappointed that something is on the menu and you can even be vocal about it. That's okay. However, this woman carried on for about 20 minutes about the cheese issue or the cheese problem until the maitre d' caught wind of the situation and came over to speak with her.
Now, this is where we really want to focus on the conversation, because although she spent about 20 minutes talking to her partner about the horrible, appalling nature of a French restaurant not having French cheese selections and having it from the US, which, mind you, I think we still produce a good cheese in the US. The maitre d' caught wind, came over and handled this situation brilliantly. First and foremost, the maitre d' was from an area close to France in Italy and said that don't get me wrong, I agree with you completely. We want to provide the best cheese selections around the world, maybe from France or anywhere else, and that typically that is something that you would see here. However, with the pandemic and the restart of cruising and everything going on right now, I unfortunately know that this is not possible right now, and something that they are working on, and really handled this like a person-to-person interaction. I was really impressed with this interaction because it really helped make her at ease.
I was also very impressed with the way the maitre d' handled this. I've got a background in customer service, and rule number one of customer service is you handle humanity with humanity. And that is exactly what this maitre d' did. The woman changed her tune, he walked away, and we could even hear her say to her partner, wow, I'm really impressed with the way that he handled it and the things that he said. They were very, very happy with their meal after that, and at the end of the day, the problem was solved. Even though they weren't able to find cheese from France in that moment, they walked away as two happy customers thanks to the maitre d'.
Now, of course, I know a lot of people at home are probably appalled that she made such a complaint about a small thing. In fact, I can see the number one comment being, you should just be happy you're on board a cruise ship, which we can't agree with anymore, except that this is what a maitre d' is for. A maitre d' is for you to tell any kind of complaints or any type of feedback, whether it be good or bad, to, so that they can relate it back to the chef, to the corporate office, whatever it needs to be, so they can make changes. Without feedback like this, there are no changes that will ever be made. And this is something important. So although a lot of people are probably thinking this is a ridiculous situation, this, in all honesty, is what maitre d's love to do. They love to get feedback, and this is one thing that you should do if you are someone who has really good, helpful advice, or someone that just really wants to give good feedback and say everything was amazing. Maitre d's love to hear it.
It's also important to know that we are still in a time of shortages all around the world throughout all industries, not just the cruise industry. There's a particular type of rum that Jared and I love to drink that we cannot find anywhere. Cruise ships, on land, it doesn't matter. It is out of stock and has been for months. So sometimes it's the little things that you find as comforts or things that you love in life that you're just missing, and it is okay to be disappointed by that.
But at the end of the day, the human interactions are what matter, and that's why we love to cruise. So that's it for today. Thanks so much for joining us, but let us know in the comments how you feel. First of all, have you ever talked to a maitre d' about your meal, good or bad? And on top of that, Is this something that she did in the right way, or should she have talked to the maitre d' much sooner than 20-25 minutes into her meal of being appalled at the cheese selection? Let us know in the comments below.
Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button on your way out. And until next time, see ya. Change